Welcome everybody. So we are going to start our sixth module. Sixth module consists of two parts. First part is construction procedures and the second part is inspection and quality control. So in construction procedures, we will be discussing about different methods of construction, types of contract, tenders, pre-qualification procedure for contractors, earnest money deposit, contract document, general and important conditions of contract, measurement and measurement book. That's all. And in inspection and quality control, we will be studying the need, principle and the stages of inspection and quality control and the basics of total quality management. So let us see one by one. First of all, the three basic sectors of construction are buildings. That is, building construction is usually further divided into residential and non-residential buildings. So non-residential buildings can be commercial or institutional buildings. And it provides places where people live, such as houses, apartments, and the office, factory buildings, etc. Commercial or industrial buildings. So industrial construction includes refineries, process chemical, power generation, mills and manufacturing plants. It also includes office structures, shopping malls and factories, as well as churches and other houses of worship. So all these comes under commercial or industrial construction. And the third sector in construction is civil construction or civil infrastructural constructions. So here the infrastructure is often called heavy civil or heavy engineering. So large structures, giant structures that includes large public works, dams, bridges, highways, railways, water or wastewater and utility distribution. So in general, the building construction, the building sectors are classified into three: residential, non-residential and civil construction or infrastructures. Now, what are the different methods of construction? See, generally there are two different methods of construction. One is the conventional method and the next one is the modern methods. So modern methods consist of different techniques and tools in every sector or every field or in every elements of civil engineering. If you take bricks, we have modern bricks, we have conventional bricks. If you take the cement, we have the conventional cements as well as the new developments of including the new products like fly ash, etc. are included in the cement. So these are all the modern cements. So if you take a concrete, we have conventional concrete, which includes cement, fine aggregate, coarse aggregate and water, whereas we have many newer cements based upon the additional ingredients what we use. So first method of construction is traditional construction. The term traditional build is most often used to describe a structure where the internal load bearing leaf of the walling is of masonry construction. Okay, so traditional buildings normally refers to masonry buildings. And although modern methods of constructions are taking building practices into the future, traditional brick and block methods still remain one of the most widely used build types. So here we can now let us discuss some of the advances in the method of constructions. So second one is lightweight aerated blocks. So the advanced bricks, advanced blocks for the construction. So lightweight aerated blocks, it is also called as aircrete blocks. are suitable for foundations, internal and external leaves of cavity walls, solid walls, internal walls and party walls. And they provide a far greater thermal efficiency, but usually require the application of an external wall insulation system to achieve current building regulations. So if you use this lightweight aerated blocks, it will give you a greater thermal efficiency. It will keep your building cool inside. Okay, the diagram figure showing the aircrete blocks. Now the third one is thin joint block work. Thin joint block work or thin joint masonry is a fast, clean, accurate system for construction using autoclaved aerated concrete blocks of close dimensional tolerance with 2 mm to 3 mm mortar joints. Thin layer mortar is a pre-mixed cement based product that only requires the addition of water to make an easily applied mortar. It differs from general use of mortar in that it sets more rapidly, thus giving early stability to the construction. And it provides an alternative to traditional sand cement mortar and allows the depth of the mortar to be reduced from at least 10 mm to 3 mm or less. That is why we call this as thin joint block work or thin joint masonries. Okay, here you can see the joint. Next is precast flat panel system. So floors and wall units, these are all precast units. See, previously casted in the industry and then it will be placed in the field of construction. So floor and wall units are produced off-site in the factory and erected on-site to form robust structures ideal for all repetitive cellular projects. Panels can include services, windows, doors and finishes. See, another advantage of this precast flat panel system is it reduces the time a lot. It saves your time, it saves your money, it saves the workmanship, etc. So building envelope panels with factory fitted insulation and decorative cladding can be used as load bearing elements also. And this offers factory quality and accuracy together with speed of erection on site. So you can speed up your work, you can save your money, etc. And you can see one example. You can in the figure you can see a placing a precast flat walling system. Okay, so you can finish your work earlier. Then fifth is 3D volumetric construction. 3D volumetric construction, it is also known as modular constructions. See, modular constructions, you have heard modular kitchens. Similarly, modular constructions. So one module, the construction is made as modules and different modules should be coordinated with the neighboring modules. So these modules will be of standard size and standard shape. And this depends upon the molds which we use in the factory. So 3D volumetric constructions, also known as modular construction, involves the production of three-dimensional units in controlled factory conditions prior to transportation to site. Modules can be brought to site in a variety of forms ranging from a basic structure to one with all internal and external finishes and services installed, all ready for assembly. Okay, you can see. So all the panels are made in the factory and then transported and brought to the site and then got fitted in the site. The next one is flat slabs. Flat slabs are built quickly due to modern framework being simplified and minimized. Rapid turnaround is achieved using a combination of early striking and panelized framework system. So this is a flat slab. That is, flat slab means slabs resting on columns. You can see here there is no beams. You have only columns. So slabs resting on columns are called flat slab. Then next one is twin wall technology. So the prefabricated panels comprise two slabs separated and connected by cast-in lattice girders. The units are placed temporarily propped and then joined by reinforcing and concreting the cavity on site. Twin wall is usually employed in association with precast flooring systems. You can see here twin walls. Okay. So these are some of the modern construction technologies which we use nowadays. And precast foundation. Next one is precast foundation. So precast concrete systems can be used rapidly to construct foundations. The elements are usually to be bespoke design and cast in a factory environment, giving assured quality for the finished products. The foundations are often supported by concrete piles and connected to the Okay, so the foundations also can be made or casted in the factory and then it can be placed on feet. Now, let us see about contract. What do you mean by contract? So this is a very familiar term for you. So contract is nothing but an agreement enforceable by law. A contract follows a proposal from one party and its acceptance by the other. So one party calls for contract, one party gives the contract and the second party gets it. Normally in construction industry, the first party is the owner and the second party will be the contractor. Okay. So that is the contract. So as per PWD, Public Works Department, contract is an agreement or undertaking by a person or firm to do some work under certain terms and conditions. The work may be for the construction or maintenance and repairs, for the supply of materials, for the supply of laborers, for transportation of materials, etc. So for each and every stages of construction, each and every part of construction, each and every sector in a construction, we call for contracts, right? We give contracts for materials, for machines, for workers, etc. Now, what are the different types of contracts? So, following are the important types of contract for execution of civil engineering works. Item rate contract, percentage rate contract, lump sum contract, labor contract, materials supply contract, cost plus percentage rate contract, cost plus fixed fee contract, cost plus sliding or fluctuating free scale contract, target contract, and negotiated contract. We will see one by one. So first one is item rate contract or unit price contract or schedule contract. So we know all the materials in the construction industry, we quantize it in terms of items, right? So item rate contract, each items. So a contractor undertakes the execution of the work on an item rate basis. So item, cement is an item. And how many number of items. So based on that, taking the contract is called item rate contract. So the contractor is required to quote the rate for individual item of the work on the basis of schedule of quantities finished by the department. And the payment to the contractor is made on the basis of the detailed measurement of different items of work actually executed by him. Now, second one is percentage rate contract. So in this form of contract, department draws up item rate tender, that is bill of quantities with rate, amount and total amount, and the contractors are required to offer to carry out the work as per with the rates shown in the specific price schedule or some percentage above or below the rates indicated in the schedule of work attached with the tender. So in terms of a percentage rate of item. So lump sum contract. The contractor, he quotes a fixed sum for the execution of a complete work. So the complete work can be given for a particular contractor based on the lump sum quoted by him. That is called a lump sum contract. Now, labor contract. So labor contract means sometimes a contractor in a construction work, in a project, only the labor portion will be given as a contract. That is called a labor contract. Now, material supply contract. Contract is given for the materials. Cost plus percentage rate. So here a contractor will agree to take the work of construction on the actual cost of the work plus one agreed percentage in addition as his service or for miscellaneous purposes. So actual cost plus a percentage of the actual cost for miscellaneous purpose, that is cost plus percentage rate. Contract. Cost plus fixed fee contract. So here there will be the original cost plus a fixed fee. Next is cost plus sliding or fluctuating fee scale contract. So here there will be an amount of fee which will be fluctuating throughout the schedule of the project. So this fee, unlike like percentage or fixed, this may be increasing or decreasing. Okay, that is called cost plus sliding or fluctuating fee. And this sliding or fluctuating will depend on both the parties, the owner as well as based on the contractor. Now, target contract. Here the contractor is paid on cost plus percentage basis of the work. So a work is targeted. Okay. So he receives a percentage plus or minus on his savings. So the contract is given with respect to the target of the work completed. So as per the schedule, the work will be targeted, and if the contractor completes the work earlier, his money will be saved. So it will be plus or minus if he delay the work. That is target contract. Then 10th was negotiated contract on the basis of negotiation. So when the contract is awarded without calling tenders, on the basis of negotiation only, it is called a negotiation contract. So without calling the tenders, without giving an advertisement for tenders, without any competition, then there is only one or two firms. You can negotiate. You can give the work. That is a negotiation contract. So totally 10 types of contracts. And now we will move on to tenders. As you all know, what is a tender? It is an offer in writing to execute some specific work. Okay, so if we want to execute a specific work, so after completing our planning, we may call for tenders. Or before the planning stage, the tenders can be called for, so that the tenders can be provided from planning to the execution of the work. So this depends upon the rates, this depends upon the time, the contractor, the agreements, the owner, etc. So for execution of a work through a contractor, tenders are called. So in order to give the work to a contractor, in order to give a contract, tenders are called. So what is the purpose of calling these tenders? You can obtain the lowest cost and you can select the experienced and competent contractors. Now, what is tender document? So tender document is nothing but a writing. So what are the important things that tender documents should compose of? A notice inviting tender, tender form, standard conditions of contract, schedule of quantities of work to be done, tools and plans to be supplied by client, special terms and conditions, complete specifications of work and materials to be used, a set of approved drawings where necessary, program of work, the name of authority who is competent to accept or reject the tender, dispute resolutions. Disputes we have already studied. What is disputes? A problem between the parties, that is called disputes. And we have already discussed what are the types of resolution of disputes. Okay, and nature and scope of work and its location. So these things should be present in a tender document. Now let us see about a tender form. So tender form is one of the part of tender document, and it is a printed standard form giving the bill of quantities, contractors' rates, cost of work, estimated money, security deposit, time allowed for the work, signature of contractor, the witness, signature of witness to contractors, etc. So that is called tender form. So while in the tender form, see, the contractor will confirm his bid after reviewing and agreeing the following things, that is contract documents. The contractor has to verify the contract documents. He can do a site visit and analyze the environmental conditions, and he can confirm all the informations obtained affecting the tender. So considering all these factors, a contractor can decide, or a contractor can fix the amount for tenders. So notice inviting tender or tender notice. So tender notice is the issue in the prescribed form for calling tenders for execution of some work, and this tender notice, it should contain name of the client or the authority inviting the tender, description of work, estimated cost of the work, or we call it as PAC, which means probable amount of contract, price of tender form and other documents, earnest money deposit, security deposit, eligibility criteria, acceptance and evaluation of tender, retention money, time of completion, last date and time and place of sale of tender, and last date, time and place of submission of tender. So, and tender opening date and time. So all these informations should be available in a tender notice. So this is an example showing the tender notice. Now let us see what are the types of tenders. Types of tenders may be open tender and closed tender. So open tender means it is an arrangement where an advertisement in newspapers or trade journals, they invite the contractors to apply for tender documents. So open tender means you have to give the advertisement in newspapers. So it is open for all. Any third person can come and submit his tender. So it is a transparent process. So you can, in the open tender, you will have a lot of choices, a variety of choices. So you can conclude with the best price and meeting with all the technological requirements. You can fix the price which meet all the technological requirements. Whereas this closed or limited or selective tender will be given only for pre-qualified or known bidders. There will be a slot procedure. So only those who clear this slot will be allowed for calling the tender, to submit the tender. So that is called a limited or closed or selective tender. For example, sometimes the tender will be given only for a person with a certain degree of qualification. At least he should have an engineering degree. So that all comes under closed tender. Now, global tender. So for big and specialized job, global tenders are invited by the authority throughout the globe. See, open tender means only within the country it will be. Global tender is all around the world. That is the difference between open tender and global tender. Then negotiated or invited tender. So here the owner will approach the contractor and he can negotiate the price, the quality of the material, the quantity of the materials, etc. So the owner can negotiate with that contractor whom he select or whom he meets, and he can fix the contract. That is called a negotiated or independent. Now, what are the pre-qualifications required for a contractor? So only those contractors who has carried out similar nature of work of a minimum contract sum is qualified and requested to submit the tender. So before submitting the tender, he should have certain qualifications. He should have experience in doing similar works. Okay, then he should assure the quality. His past experience record should be submitted, and the overall competence should be considered. He should ensure the safety and healthy measures. Safety requirements we have already studied in our previous module. Then his financial stability should be checked. And the size and the resources, including the personal equipments, etc., which he can afford, should be confirmed. And he should be well sound in technology as well as in organizational ability. And he should be able to innovate alternative proposals if necessary. So these are the pre-qualifications of contractor. Before giving the tender to a contractor, it is a very essential one to check whether he is pre-qualified. Now, what are the conditions of contract? In civil engineering constructions, we have part 1, part 2, part 3, etc. So part 1 composed of general conditions, and it has 72 clauses with the forms of tenders and agreements. And this general conditions, part 1, conditions of contract, the part 1, it consists of dispute review board agreement also. And part 2 are the conditions of particular applications. And part 3 must be specially drafted to suit each individual contract. Now let us see about what is earnest money deposit. Earnest money deposit means that money is a guarantee on the part of a contractor to keep open for consideration and to confirm his intention to take up the work. So a sum of money should be kept open so that the owner can understand that this contractor is really interested in taking or in continuing with the work. That is called earnest money deposit, and normally 1% to 2% of the total estimated cost is deposited as earnest money deposit. And main objects, what is the reason for this earnest money deposit? What is the need for this earnest money deposit? For the purpose of compensations, punishments, and a restriction on unnecessary compensations. Now, what is a security deposit? Now, if a contractor's tender is accepted, 10% of the tendered amount should be deposited as security amount, and this amount includes the earnest money deposit also. And this security deposit will be refunded after satisfactory completion of the whole work within the specified time limit. And if a contractor fails on this, his whole or part of the security money is forfeited by the department as punishment. Now, what are the things that should be available in a contract document? So contract document, it is a set of procedures, a written document. So it should consist of a title page, index, tender notice, letter of acceptance of tender, and a written order to commence the work, any correspondence between the contractor and the client or consultant engineer in clarification of rate or item of contract, then tender form, conditions of agreements, general conditions and particular conditions or specific conditions, general and additional specifications, schedule of issue of materials and tools and plans, labor regulations and safety, a complete set of drawings including plans, sections, elevations, etc. Now, let us discuss what is measurement and measurement book. So, measurement for all the works done and supplies received in connection with the sanctioned estimate has to be recorded in a special notebook, what we call as measurement book. So this measurement book consists of all the details of payments which is made to the contractors and suppliers for the work already completed, for the amount paid to the already supplied materials, etc. So what is the purpose of this measurement book is the transactions made for the whole project could be readily traced. Okay, that's all about contract, tenders, types of construction, types of contracts, types of tenders, tender documents, contract documents, and essential things, important things that should be present in the documents. Now we will move on to inspection and quality control, the needs, principles and stages. First of all, what is the need of quality in construction industry? So quality means fitness for use, and it is the totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bear on its ability to satisfy a given need. So quality involves meeting the customer's need, preferences and exceeding it. So quality also encompasses people, process and environment. Now TQM. TQM means total quality management. So total quality management means that the organization's culture is defined by and supports the constant attainment of customer satisfaction through an integrated system of tools, techniques and training. This involves the continuous improvement of organizational process resulting in high quality products and services. So total quality management means it is the overall process. So in construction industry, we know we have a planning stage, analysis stage, design stage, estimation stage, construction stage, handover stage, maintenance stage, etc. So in all these stages, the quality, total quality of the materials should be ensured. The quality of the finished products should be ensured. So how to attain this total quality management? Through quality control and inspection. So at each stage you should have a control, quality control on your materials, on the techniques which you are using for construction, on the finished products, and inspection. Okay. So inspection should be made. So one example is normally we do NDT test, non-destructive test. In order to determine the compressive strength of the hardened surface, we may use rebound hammers. Okay, so that is one way of quality inspection in hardened concrete structures. So you should do quality inspection once the product is handled to the owner. A frequent quality inspection should be made. Inspection should be continued. Whether your structure is satisfying the standards, normally the Indian standards. So what is the need for quality management? So need for quality management means first important thing is it should meet our expectations. See, when do we go for a planning or when do we go for a project or construction? When there is some need, we need it. And we will have some requirements. Okay, So meeting these requirements in the specified time with the specified cost, that is what we call as quality with all safety measurements. Okay. So if a project does not apply quality effectively to its activities, its asset and outputs are less likely to be fit for the purpose. So what are the benefits? Some benefits because of this total quality management in construction industry is it will increase the efficiency because of quality consciousness. So this will reduce the scrap due to less number of items being rejected. See, nowadays this is a big problem in the construction industry, that is the scrap materials. Due to the scarcity of land to dump this scrap materials, now research is going on, or we try to recycle this scrap materials and try to use it in some other way. So if you are reducing the scrap materials, you can avoid this problem, and this quality management will help you a lot in reducing the scrap in construction industry. And you can easily identify if there is any fault in the construction, if there is any faulty planning, faulty design, faulty analysis, etc. And it is highly economical. So decrease in cost in the long run can be avoided, can be controlled. Then creating quality consciousness in workers. Now, what are the stages of quality management? So stages of quality management includes quality planning, quality assurance, quality control. Quality planning means identifying the relevant quality standards and determining or planning the strategies to satisfy those quality standards. Okay, that is quality planning. See, planning to meet the standards. Quality assurance means providing the confidence for the proposed quality standards. And quality control means maintaining the quality. That is compliance to quality standards and identifying the means to eliminate the non-conformities. Now, so we have discussed about quality control. There are two types of quality control. One is process control and the second one is end control based on end results. So process control, this includes controlling the quality. That is quality control throughout the construction process. That is what we call it as process control. So throughout process, from the planning stage to the construction stage. End control based end results means here the quality control is based on the end result. For example, if it is concrete, the end result will be the grading of concrete. So based on that. Now, quality of construction is dependent on the quality of materials which we use in construction, the expertise of workers, the technology adopted in construction, the number, type and quality of inspections, quality consciousness of people, funds available for construction and quality control, time available for quality control procedures, existence of norms and guidelines for assessing the quality of construction of a particular type, experience and expertise of inspectors, quality of design and the nature of the project. Now, in general construction operations, we will see a few important elements in constructions. What are the stages involved and how you can go out with the quality control in various stages. So first one is earthwork. So the stages involved in earthwork are measurement of dimensions in different directions in terms of height, width and length, excavations of soil, Determination of soil properties. Compacting soil. Okay, these stages we do in earthwork. So how can you do the quality control? So you can see, while measuring the dimensions, you can measure it precisely. And when we use the equipments, measuring equipments, you can use good standard equipments or equipments with less error, which produce less error. Then you can use the standard procedures while testing the soil. And you can use another, see, next stage is compaction. In compaction stage, you can use good quality equipment for good compaction equipments. Now, how can you do the quality control in masonry? So the stages in masonry construction is, again, measurement of the dimensions in different directions in terms of height, width and length, construction of masonry, curing of masonry work. So quality control, see, you can use good measuring instruments. You can use good quality materials for construction. You can use the right construction procedures, and correct bonds can be employed. You have already studied different bonds in your earlier semesters, like English bond, Flemish bond, French bond, then etc. etc. You have studied different bonds. You can use the correct bonds based upon your purpose and strength, etc. And employment of people with experience and expertise, and adequate cure of masonry. Now third is reinforced cement concrete. So the stages included are measurement of dimensions in different directions in terms of height, width and length, creating and installing of a framework, provision of reinforcement, mixing of concrete, casting of concrete, curing of concrete, etc. See, you just understand the stages in reinforced concrete construction, and in each stage how you can assure the quality. So how we can assure the quality in each stages? You should have a proper equipment. Avoid errors, that's all. In simple, avoid errors. Use good quality materials. Use the right construction procedures. Employ the people with experience and expertise. Correct the detailing of reinforcements. Correct detailing of reinforcements. Use correct detailing of reinforcements. And adequate curing should be given. Now, fourth one is sanitary and water supply services. So the stages includes measurement of dimensions, procurement of materials, installation of materials and testing of materials. So in the quality control, how can you ensure the quality control? Use good quality materials, use right construction practices, employ the people with experience and expertise. Okay, so fifth is electrical services, also the same thing. Measurement of dimensions, procure, install and testing. And quality control, use good quality, right persons and right procedures. So that's all. Thank you. So your sixth module has been completed. Thank you. So by this our syllabus has been completed. So prepare well. All the best for your exams. Thank you.